Hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar here, and an updated video on some positions and best bets going into the end of the week and the beginning of next week. Tomorrow I'll put out the HPS watch list, which goes out to Day Trading Radio members. Definitely want to have that to guide you through the markets every week, because those HPSs are kicking butt, kicking ass. I'll say it. It is. They're doing real good. So we're going to review those and why they are working so well. You know, there's about 2 to 3 setups we look for and really search out, and over time was develop the patience and the discipline to not chase anything except what I call the high probability ones, and they work so well, and it just becomes an addiction just to continue to stay that course. Find the best of the best, and it's an easy formula. It's a very easy formula. So I'll go over that a little today too. So just want to kind of update you on some important setups we discussed on the radio today. So one of the listeners asked me, John, I want to take part of the AUPH going forward, but I want to get calls. When do you expect news to come out that's going to propel the stock? What's going to be the next catalyst? So good point, because this is one of our main biotech holdings, and I think a lot of members are in this also. We've been in it since $6. So we've already gotten this big move up on the AUPH. All right, just wanted to take a break. Sent out the alert. We're doing this live. So we're going to discuss some stocks going into tomorrow. We're going to review the stocks we've been trading, why they're working so well, and with that, you'll know what to look for going in the future. Futures are down right now. It is a Thursday evening, about 9:04 in the evening. Asia markets down. S&P futures are off 4, and I was just discussing having this little bearish feeling tomorrow. Just if we're going to look at a pullback type of day, tomorrow's a Friday. The market's been super strong, but we'll go over those charts right now. I have the AUPH up on the. I'm just going to do this randomly. It's just whatever pops up. If anybody's in the room and I want to ask the stock, that's fine too. But no particular order until the end of the video, and I'll tell you the best bet for tomorrow. And that won't be. I'm not going to try to make this too long, but I do have a lot to talk about. Hey, J-Mel, no problem. So we had a question today, actually. What was that? Marco, service member. It says, pretty nice. He hit me up in a private message and said, hey, John, just wanted to let you know I started following you when I was deployed with the U.S. Army in Iraq back in 2009. You're the man. I've learned a lot with you. Question for you. I really like to get into AUPH stock with some calls. What do you expect? When are they supposed to come out with the news and studies? Well, we discussed that today during the show today, and that was, that's the big question. We discussed. I'll go through it again. They have the lupus drug. It just got their phase 3 approval. And that's what caused AUPH to go from $5-6 all the way up to, pre-market that day was like $25, $24, $25. And then we ended up next day opening up and chopping around and moving up to 22 and then pulling back to right under 18, where we wanted to buy more of that, because there is another drug or two in the pipeline. And these drugs are probably going to be even bigger than the lupus drug. Dry eye drug, and that's going up against this other, the best in breed right now, Restasis. If I pronounce that again, or if I pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry. And they're going head to head in the trials on phase 2/3, and that's due. That was going to be due first half. I think it was called the first half of 2020. So all right. Started picking up more calls going out to July, whatever I have the calls. Let me see what I have them. I got calls March. No, I don't. So I'm all the way out to April. So I had the April calls. Thought I had plenty of time. I think I went out even further to July. So I have a lot of July calls too. But all of a sudden these calls might not be the perfect position on this. I have individual shares too. Excuse me. So I'm not worried about the shares, but I'm worried about my calls. So it made me look at them. We had the discussion in the room, and seeing that we could go out to January 2021. They're not that. I didn't find them, outrageous. We're talking about let's bring up the option chain here. And I'm not getting, any complex option maneuvers here. Straight up, I want to be in a position in this stock. I am very confident that we'll get bought out. The timing is the question. So I want to just give me enough time. I'm not worried. I know where it's gonna. I'm pretty confident on where it's gonna go. Let me see if I get the options here. Where's my options on this stock? Let me see how I get that. And again, this is live, so I'm probably going to sell some of mine. And I would love to get a pop tomorrow and sell it, and even maybe even sell some of my shares and go out to. Now this is using the. I don't have my other option platform in front of me. It's on another computer, and this is the one with the TC2000, which doesn't go out far enough sometimes. It's kind of ugly the way this thing is set up here. Show all. You hear the pipes banging in here? All right, let's go to the calls only. Oh, now why is this? Why is this like this? I'm supposed to go out and look at all of them. I don't know why it's not giving me. It's not working on that, but I have it on my other computer, and I can look over here, and I can tell you what these are. So we're looking at the, come on. They usually give me the closing price, but it's not. So hold on. Up here, I didn't get the option chain up here. Well, for some reason, it's not popping up, but the object here, and over the next couple of days, and this could still get bought out before my options expire in April or July. But once they move their trial date out to fourth quarter, that could push us all the way out to December. Who knows where, and who knows there's going to be any more delays. So I'm going to be hanging out there. I'd rather be picking up some calls, gives me plenty of time. Won't really even touch the premium. And I think we were looking at 30s for about, what were we looking at here? I think there was the $30 calls. Maybe there were maybe $8. I kind of forget. Anyway, that's the game plan on this. We'll see what happens. It has a nice fast rotation right now. All right, and the other, just the other drug stock, the EXEL, is actually looking a little bit better. Remember, we had this underlying trend line. We came down to it's oversold and said, watch for that rotation back up. This trend line probably going to hold us up pretty good. And it is. It actually is good. And I like this overall picture. I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff on this one. It's not the greatest, talk about their, the way they're handling the business and shareholder value, but overall the pipeline is filled up. They have all these trials going on. There's just a lot of things going, a lot of things in the fire on this one, and we're looking for a bounce here up to about $19, and this is just starting to get going here. So look at this. we've just starting to get going. Now look at the difference between this, the EXEL, just, you know, already 1, 2, 3, 4 days, but we're up, you know, we're not really that high. And let's take a look at the AUPH here. And look how fast that moved and got overbought so fast on the same amount of days. You know, something to look at. And you know, we don't see that comparison that often because it just happened to be we're looking at two stocks, and I could definitely remember seeing something very similar to that. So this is interesting to me going forward because I want to put that in my memory banks on, because I always talk about a fast rotation and not a big move. It tends to be sometimes a bearish setup, and the slower the rotation up to get up, the more room you have to run. So you have two situations here. You have one that's already moving, but moving good, but still has some room to run, versus one that's run the same amount. I mean, percentage-wise, maybe I didn't fact check it or anything, but you can see what I'm talking about. So that's the EXEL. So we're still long and strong, that one, the AUPH. VERU is interesting. You know, I did add to the VERU recently, and I tell you, this was a long marriage that we had with this stock. We got in really good. We got in at $1.18 was my first entry here. It's trading at 4 and change, but that was after 2 years of holding it. So I never held anything that long. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, even though, you know, I have I would say a good amount of experience in the market. I don't think I have that experience of dealing with something holding, being married to a stock with a lot of shares, and just dealing with the ups and downs of it. You know, and then all of a sudden seeing how it moves here. Now you look at it and it's like, you know, whoever I talk to, it's the same thing. This is a different stock right now. So it looks interesting. I don't see a reason why the $6 is not in the near future of this one. I don't know why. It's just acting good. Differences. Well, the stochastics is the measurement of each candle. The 0 to 100 mark, where we're measuring the stochastics now at 68 versus the faster stochastics up here. These numbers go from 0 to 100. This represents the percent of the range of the candle that the price is closing at over a time frame. So your 9-3 stochastic is over 9 days. Your price that closes, what percentage of that is positive and negative? So once you get into an overbought level, the way it's set up, and believe me, it could hurt you. It could hurt your brain. You know, I'm trying to think of how this formula works. You know, and there's you could go on the internet and do research on it. You know, let me see if I have something for you to kind of explain something. You might have seen this before that I show people, and this comes from George Lane himself. George Lane was the founder, and then the creator of the stochastics, and he also did percentage R, which is the what is that? When he gave that away to someone, and someone took it. I'm just trying to get my file up here. Let me see. ODF, what is it called? ODP. Hold on, let me see if I could bring this up here. All right. Basically, what we're looking at here, sorry about the wasting the time on the video, but we're always looking for that divergence. And if we know, I don't have the formula here. Let me see here, but this is how George Lane actually explained it in a great way. And for me, I used to deal with model rocketry when I was a Boy Scout and stuff, so the concept became a lot of very easy for me to understand, where you have that underlying momentum, how that price is closing each candle or each time frame. you know, where that's closing on that candle. It's moving up and closing higher on that, you know, on that range. That, you know, you take that 9-day range, and what's the largest candle in that range, and where it's closing at in that 9-day period. So it's at the top of the 9-day period, or it's at the bottom of the 9-day period, or the 14-day, or the 60. See, that's why we had the different time frames. And then the other line is just a moving average that kind of smooths it out. Now, again, you have to get really down deep and get into this guy's head, because apparently he got this formula from mixing, I believe it was some Polish cement mixers, some construction workers, the way they measured out, I think it was cement or something, you know, it was just a formula, and they added to it and they figured it out, and this thing was like, and we see it work all the time. You know, you see how this thing works. You see a program that bot around it, and you could go back to that bot. Look at that bot right now. Every single spot that it says we are bouncing. Whenever the divergence comes in, we're usually seeing a pretty good move. Now, some of those moves based off don't move up stronger than the downtrend, but that's not, the bot's not going to tell you that. I mean, there's probably ways of us could identify a longer term trend and stuff, but the short term scalping bot like this on the 1 minute will give you those moves, and the 5 minute will give you the bigger moves. You know, and these are amazing, sometimes amazing little setups you get. You get this divergence, and you just happen to see every time you get these divergences, you get these moves. I mean, this is automatically putting in. I mean, these are textbook great little moves. There's a lot to add into that. You know, it's not just a set it and forget it type of thing. You have to. This is a tool. I consider this bot as an indicator in itself that I combine with stochastics. I combine with trend lines. If I have a 1 minute rock bot divergence and it's on the VWAP and it's on a rise in trend line, that works as you know, an indicator for me where I want to have 3 of the 5 indicators lined up. I don't say this is the end all to everything, but it does take care of a lot of what I built it for, was to identify those levels in case I miss them, because I'm looking all over the place. And then it had, you know, it started building on itself, and it actually gives great identification areas, you know, for this. Now, it'll, depending on what you put in the parameters, will you know, really depend on how far you could run with this or how fast you get chopped up with it. But the object is to know where these areas are. It's my biggest concern. The stochastics, though, now measure that momentum, and George Lane was quoted saying the stochastic, and they're saying the stochastic measures the momentum of price. If you visualize a rocket going up, and if you know a rocket, you put a little charge in the back of the rocket, and it's just like a bottle rocket or anything. It's gunpowder. You light it, that fuse goes off, and all that powder is burning, and all that thrust is pushing up, and that thrust will die out like that, boom. Because when that's done, it's done. You know, there's no. But just like throwing a ball in the air, or throwing anything, you're going to have momentum that continues to push a stock or a rocket. So you have a very easy way of measuring the thrust versus measuring whatever the thrust was pushing is going to go a little bit higher. And that's how we measure divergences. You know, you have that easy way of recognizing them. And when you see that, it's telling us almost in a proactive, not a reactive state, but almost in a proactive state, that the market is about to turn over, because you're starting to see the weakness. Here's a slight divergence here. You're starting to see a lower. Sorry if it's not perfect, but you know, you can see there's a slight divergence there. It's a better divergence than it was anywhere else, and there's a slight higher, you know, a higher high here, and then boom, right from that level. You know, sayonara. Here, divergence over here. Last time we were in the VERU. A low, a lower low, low, higher low. Moved sideways to up. you know. I want to just make sure that we're correctly identifying these, because, you know, I want to have that confidence also. You know, maybe it doesn't give us the biggest move ever, but the odds are that you're going to get a move. This one didn't seem like this. No, I don't know if that was a divergence or not. It was a divergence, but it was probably news here that caused that to break down. And news trumps everything. We always talk about Trump and news, but, you know, Trump news is even, that trumps the market even more. I mean, anything can break down, you know. Let's jump in. So we did the VERU, we did the AUPH. I got your message there, J-Mill. Let's see if we can hit on that after. If not, just hit me up again tomorrow, and I'll take a time and talk to you about it, or text you about it, or make a comment about it. VERU, AUPH, EXEL, and again, I'm not going to go into too much detail because a lot of these Biohaven is pushing up nice. It is working pretty good. Interesting. Remember they did a deal the other day. They did an offering. I don't know how many shares, but they did a cash raise, secondary, and look where it is now. It pushed back up above that level. That's a good sign right there. That's a good sign. Momentum is driving higher. You know, one thing I should say also, J-Mill, is one of the easiest concept is going with the market momentum or stock momentum, and that's another reason I look at stochastics. It's very easy to see a downtrend and an underlying downtrend of the stochastics. Now, what came first? You know, the downtrend of the stock or the downtrend of the stochastics? Well, of course, probably the downtrend of the stock, but momentum brings on more momentum. And once you start to see that momentum build with the stochastics and seeing where the gauge is, you know, because we have a gauge from 0 to 100 and where that price is closing each time. Is it closing higher and higher on that and getting closer and closer? But so the momentum is very strong here, so you would expect more upside. Versus every time it gets up here, and especially when it starts to turn over, you know, yeah, you have more chance of a downside. But again, you know, short term, this market is definitely a fast and flowing market. Yeah, I'm going to talk about everything. We'll talk about the load here. Do we have any news on load while I was out today? Ow, my foot. I'm sitting on my foot. All right, so that's a stock. Again, we're holding a lot of... I don't have my thing up here. I don't have the options not pricing in, but I have a lot of stuff here. So let's take a look. All right, so we went to the BVHN. EXEL, we discussed the MRK. So MRK, you know, I'll tell you now, I love in this MRK. I want to take a bigger position on it. I had a couple more calls today. I was hoping to see a move above yesterday's highs to really add to it and just consider that's going to be a divergence and we're just going to continue to push higher. Very cool that it came down to that trend line, a lower trend line also. It's very strong. You have that pivot area there of the closing, or that low, and then a low here. And a lot of people will say, well, you broke down here. Why wouldn't you adjust that? Let this chart talk to you. Let it tell you where that trend line is going to be. Sometimes you can tell if there's a flush and it just gets it right back. It's probably an early morning hiccup or something. And if there's a closing price above that trend line, I use the extensions of the other, if there's 2 or 3 extensions here and only one kind of breakdown here, I'll go with the line that lines up with most of the pivot areas. And that's usually because that one might give us a false reading and stuff. Anyway, so I extend that down. If you look out here, there's a beautiful trend line that starts back out here. Same thing. We go through here. We go through here. And we came right up. So we gapped down to it. Bounced nice. We actually got in on that bounce. So we're up on this anyway. Either way. And I'm still expecting this to run higher. So I think it's a bargain here. I really do think it's a bargain here. I think there's actually a little pre-market or post-market activity on this too. I don't know if there's any news out here, but there is a slight little trend higher. Closed at like 85.65, and it's up here 86 and change. Maybe, I don't know. It just looked a little active after hours. But not really. Nothing. Not reading into that too much. All right. So I'll have the MRK. It's probably one of the best bets. DuPont. I mean, is it the bottom here? It came out with the earnings. And it broke down here. And that's the danger. I knew I was taking a shot into this. Holding off of that lower trend line. But, you know, lots of times we'll get that breakdown. Then a reversal and push right back up. That was the capitulation. Look at that candle right there. There's a good shot that this was a kind of a capitulation kind of candle. Talked about that a couple days ago. Just what is a capitulation candle? Well, it's usually the biggest volume of the chart. And I can tell you right now, this is the biggest volume of the chart. And it's reversed from that. So, you know. And there's, you know, a trend line like this, a channel line, and a retracement. There's a lot of levels above us that look good. 56 does look pretty good. It's 2 to 3 points higher. I think this thing is very close to a bottom here. I think this is capitulatory, something like that. Bottom. Volume right here. There it is. All right, next one up here. EXEL, MRK. I have MRK. Oxy. We still hold some Oxy. Now this is a good example of why we got into another stock that I sometimes hate to get into. Waiting for everything to be in our favor. Stochastics oversold. Look at that divergence here. I mean, I love seeing that higher high and a very steep lower low and a nice move down off of that. And right over here, the same exact thing. You know, it's the same exact thing. Even over here, pull back. See how fast the rotation came down? And then we kind of a little bounce. I mean, this is what a great way of just being able to wait for your trade. So we actually see a divergence here setting up, but it's such a hard looking, you know, it's not a divergence where you can obviously see the higher high on the stock and the lower high on the stochastics. Here you can't see that. But the formula compares each candle and the stochastics at those exact times. So it did come in as a divergence, and it's actually pushing higher, and it's just starting to gain momentum. And this is a real big, long downtrend. So I kind of like this down here. This also broke a trend line, so we confirmed a new break of a trend, came back, and then started to bounce. So, you know, putting in a higher low. I think it's just a good risk-reward trade down here. Good risk-reward. If this thing starts to break down, you know, underneath this 30, at 39, that 40 area, it's not that far off of that. I mean, you're pretty, I think you're still in a safety zone here. And then, so OXY, like that. I wanted to see a little better follow through today, but it acted pretty good. I mean, it did. What did we close up here? Closed, just kind of flat, I guess. OXY. Someone mentioned the C, SEE, and I do have this one. And this was kind of an HPS setup too. It was kind of a pennant formation. We have this big channel, and I'm going to make this channel blue so you see it. Color is going to be blue. I should make that bigger here.
Order filled.
Actually, I could probably, this downward channel is even better here. That's even better. All right, anyway. Downward channel. Nice. Off the lower trend line. Even if it chops around here. You know, I think you could probably start to build a position here between 35 and 37. And look at this trade up here at 42 area. You know, that's the trade on this one. That is definitely the trade on this one. SEE. Question is it going to pop from here? Which I have a feeling it is. I have a feeling that's we're not going to get much more of an opportunity here. Because just we'll see. I'm not adding to it. I don't like it better than the MRK. Some other ones. Even the DuPont I think is a better bottom with a capitulation volume. The capitulation volume. VERU is another one. We have CVM. I have CVM. There's a head and neck cancer. Acting good. Expecting, kind of weird on this one. I might actually take this off. They have to wait for someone to die before the trial is done, apparently. So, and there was a rumor out, so we got in on this. It's actually been popping up pretty good. It's hanging in there. The day after I sell it, I'm sure they're going to come out with the news that they, cured neck cancer or something. But I want to be careful on this. It could break down. I mean, guy could live for another 2 years. I really don't. Some of these are definitely spec type of setups here. More DuPont. How did Liongate Films do today? I have some Liongate. I thought Liongate was coming out with earnings. LGF. Is that up there at $14? No, it can't be. $10.50. Did Liongate come out? I don't see Liongate really active after hours at all. I thought Liongate was coming out. Let me double check. LGF. All right, that's today. Liongate Entertainment came in -9. Surprise down, a loss of 9 cents. A loss of 9 cents. They were expecting. No, wait. What's going on here? Surprise. Oh, they missed by 9 cents. They came in with 14 cents, expecting 23 cents.
Order filled.
But they beat on
Order
revenues. 998,000 versus the 918. So they beat on revenues. So that's that on that. Guidance. I don't see the guidance on this. No guidance on that. So. All right, so let's just continue on here. I think we're doing pretty good on that. Liongate, Tupperware. I'm calling the bottom here on Tupperware. I don't know how we're going to approach this, but I'm calling the bottom here. Tupperware all the way down here, starting to round back up, starting to slowly move back up. Tupperware, man. Like I said, I think you got to get in when the big volume spike comes in. When you have a big volume spike, that's where we're going to go all in. Big volume coming in on the buy side. Volume was okay the other day. Followed through a little green volume today, but the volume is kind of drifting overall. It's probably going to be lighter tomorrow. But I bet going into next week, it has a dual divergence setup. If we get a big volume spike on this, boy, we're going to be in this one. It's only $6 and change, but might as well wait for that big volume to come into it. I think it's low enough now that we should get an extended move off of that volume. So, Tupperware, TUP. I had $5 calls. They're trading at like 65 cents. Out to March. And it's trading at $6. Then we go out to more AUPH, more DP, CALA, KPTI, MRK, more MRK. Oh, I got MRK out here. To April. I got the April 85 calls in MRK. I would add to that. More Tupperware going out to April, and then May. EXEL, I have. Oh, nope, I got rid of my Funko. So Funko was taken out today. Let's take a look at the Funko. FNKO. Boom, baby. Who was short up here? Who kept on keeping you updated on my short? Boom. I had 8 puts on that. Profited from 8 puts. Just 8 puts at $1 and change. Picked up 32.35 just on 8 puts. Funko. So out of all that now. Pinterest, PINS. Pinterest, we got a little pop tomorrow on Pinterest. Again, looking at the chart here. Nice little pop on Pinterest coming off of 23. Up to 26 and change. Didn't sell off at all after hours. So this is actually looking pretty good. Pinterest looking good for tomorrow. And I have a lot of more AUPH going out to July, which I have to somehow roll over. The warrants in the BNGO, which are, I have 10,000 warrants in BNGO at 15 cents. I have the TBLT, 10,000 warrants at 5 cents. Holding on to those. ACHV, I'm holding 1,500 on the ACHV. Then I have AGF. Some of these I came in and just bought on some research I did, knowing they're coming out, and they're kind of, they're kind of, very speculative setups here. ASRT. We have that one. That got news today, so take a look at where we have this one for tomorrow. So we're in at this one. And we got some good news on that. And I don't think it's that news that we were expecting either. So I had to decide if I'm going to hold on to the ASRT and then have my shares in AUPH. And the AXLA, I have some AXLA. Alexella Health, and I'm not even sure what we're waiting for on this. I'm gonna have to look at this one again, but I have this one at $4 AXLA, $4.18. So we're up a little on it. Then I have stock in BHVN, Biohaven. And then the Bingo, I have some shares in Bingo, BNGO. A couple thousand shares on that. And then CALA, a few hundred shares, 300 shares on CALA. That is actually down on me. Down. The LIXD. A load. All right, so what about load? Was load down? Load looks like it was down today. I've got down to my load. Let's take a look at load. I think a lot of people are in load because Deep Throat is so into load. He's like, I want to be buying it at $1. They start coming out with their news. It's a tough one, you know. Did they come out with any news here? I don't. They pushed this thing out for 40 days. The payment on this property. You know, I just sometimes wonder why these things don't move, even if they're expecting news to come in. Is it that they don't believe it, or you know, a lot? I mean, this I watched that presentation from this guy. This guy was, you know, he was definitely selling the sizzle. So, selling the sizzle on this one, LODE. I wouldn't put everything into this one. I have 4,000 shares of it. I'll tell you what I did. I put limit orders good to cancel in at $1.20 and $1 for half of my position, and let's see what else happens. We're in at 46 cents. So I'm in at 46 cents. Holy crap! And it's at 69 cents. That's pretty good. Then I have some SCYX. Drug manufacturer. This is a cheap one. I don't know why I'm in this one. SCYX. 82 cents. I'm in. 80 cents I'm in. It's at 87 cents. All right. I mean... And then some sends, because one of our members liked the sends so much. I said, all right, I'll go in with you. So here's sends. They do a diabetes or a glucose monitoring thing that you put on your body. And I kind of like the island reversal back here. I like this support line down here. We'll see what happens. I ran it through Deep Throat. He says, riddled with debt, always doing offerings, dog with fleas. But you know what? I'm giving it a shot. Sends. SLNO. Thank you for making me go through all these because I don't even know half of these. SLNO. Again, this is probably from a few weeks ago when I did all that research. If you look back on the videos, you'll see a lot of these stocks that are due. This one's interesting because you can see there's a nice long base. It had some pops in it. It's due for something. It's actually starting to hold up here. SLNO. I'm going to look this one up fast with you right now. I might get this one. Well, I have it, but I might add to it if I like it enough because just the way it acts here. Popped up to 4 and change. It popped here. It gapped here and held that and then sold off. And now it seems to be it's just something about this one. It looks pretty good. Originally it was up to $50. AGRX. So we'll have to get to that one. Hold on, let me pause this. Salerno Therapeutics is focused on development of commercialized novel therapeutics, treatment of rare diseases. Yeah. Currently advancing the lead candidate, DCCR, once daily oral tablet for treatment of PWS into phase 3 clinical development program at the end of 2017. So this thing has been going on a while. Anybody know what PWS is? Something, I don't know. Here's a report. The 10 stock performance is hanging in there. The Destiny PWS Phase 3 Willie syndrome. That was December 6th. Completes target enrollment. So they completed the target enrollment. That was important. So this is getting close. Let's take a look at this a little bit more. Let's see if we have a date. I don't know the sickness here. The Prader-Willi Syndrome Association said 15,000 people in the U.S. 15,000. It's not many. Hallmark symptoms and disorders. Hyperplasia and chronic feeling of insatiable hunger. This severely diminishes the quality of life. Why? You're always hungry. Choking, accidental death due to food sneaking behavior. Always sneaking food. Wow, I never heard of this. I don't know how well this is going to... 15,000 people eat too much. It says we'll remain on track to announce top-line data in the first half of 2020. First half of 2020, so that's why I have this one. Once a daily deoxychlorine-controlled release. DCCR tablets. Let's copy that, and I want to just take a look. We can break this down a little bit further. Go out to clinical trials. All right, let's see here. Just remember DCCR. All right, unknown. Unknown. What's this unknown? Completed. Let's see here. Completed, withdrawn. Completed, active, but active, not recruited. This might be it. This is it, I think, right here. Drug is DCCR. Studied dioxide chlorine in patients with Prader-Willi syndrome. That's it. Let's take a look at it. There's a lot of things going on here. Zoom out here. Alright, so estimated primary completion date, May 2020. May 2020. Alright, well, so you have a better... Yeah, I'm going to write that down for myself. May 2020. That is the SLNO. SLNO. Alright. Well... Next one up on the list. VERU, got the VERU chairs. VTVT. Now this pulled back a little. Started running into the trial results. And again, another one that's, you know, these are spec plays here. Kind of just keeping you abreast on this video. VTVT. Oh, there's a lot of things built up in this one. It does look good. VTV. I'm going to have to look into that one a little bit more. If you know anything about it, get back with me, please. Yayo. I bought this one day. It popped on some news. And I just picked up 100 shares. I don't have much. I just grabbed it. You know, it was popping. I said, all right, I'll get into it. I haven't gotten rid of it since. And it was during this pop right here. So it's actually come back down. It's only $1 stock. But it's not doing anything. It's crap. ZYNE. This had a little... this is another one that's overdue for some results. And these are just, again, spec type of setups here. Not looking to get rich on these. Only have a couple hundred shares of each one of these. Just to be in it and track them. And that's it. That's it. That's the list. But going forward, you know, I gotta love the MRK here. I gotta love the AUPH. The MRK, though, the nice pullback flag. I expect this flag to turn in. I expect this to be a nice divergence. So an easy call down here from 85 to 95. Everything looks okay on that. Anything else here? We have anything? There was a lot of bearish engulfing patterns today. I had 25 on one of my scans, which is kind of a lot. And I had a couple other ones here we're looking at. SDC. Oh, Smile Direct. Yeah, the Smile Direct is it's kind of interesting. You know, like I said, I don't know the product. I know the Invisalign, AGLN. Don't know AN. I don't know. What is a line? ALGN. Oh yeah, ALGN. Nice flag. Everything looks good. It's actually a divergence. You can see that low and that lower low and a higher low. I kind of like it, you know. Like I said, I'm a believer in this now. He got that stuff back here. And I think it was like when he got his line, it hasn't broken out or anything. Alright, we're talking about GE here. Forgot to start the video up. And we're going to just look at the options here because I think you get a good, easy trade on this through 13. So how much time we want on this? Just maybe a month. So we look at the 13s or 50 cents. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. I don't know why it's not charting it. This whole thing is broken. Yeah, I have the recording going on here. It's pretty long though. It's almost an hour long so far. But the GE here going into tomorrow. GE 13 calls going out a month. They're 50 cents. I think we break through 13 pretty good and get to 14 pretty fast. Is there any new drug stocks coming up that we need to know? Someone mentioned a couple ones in the room. A new catalyst. Any new stocks coming out? Yes. ESPR. I don't have that one, do I? ESPR. Let's take a look at that ES. I'm seeing it on the corner of my eye here. ESPR, I think it is, right? Asperion. Yeah, that's kind of gapping up here. It's actually looking pretty good too. Well, after hours trade, you can see where it is. 58 to 61. Boeing was good today. Nice nice pop this morning. Held up pretty good going into tomorrow. We'll see how the day starts off, but it does look like it's looking pretty good. We did push right up against the resistance area too. I have a little, a little horizontal line here that goes to a gap and goes through recent highs and stuff. So definitely that 340 is getting up there. But I like it. I like the Boeing here. Definitely like it. Yeah, Boeing definitely has to be in play tomorrow. I guess out of all of them, I get the Merck here. I like the Merck. I like the bottom in DuPont. I do like that bottom in DuPont. It looks like a decent capitulation here on that volume spike right back here. You see this right here? This is, that's if it wasn't for that, I would say, but that was a nice volume spike. It's reversing now. So the Merck DD. Still calling that bottom in Tupperware. All the drug stocks on the watch, and I'm going to go through yours. I want to send this out. I'll stop the video now so we don't go over an hour on that, and I'll go over your picks right now, Vinny, with everyone else. All right, let me send this out. Day Trading Radio.